Vitamin D may be a problem and it may be low on your blood test, but could there be something else at play, such as magnesium? Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ask Dr. Pikel Show, where we help people find answers who have chronic health conditions, chronic health problems. And today we want to talk about vitamin D and magnesium. How do these two know each other? How are they involved together in what's going on in the body? Well, let's just dive in and talk about this because it's pretty important. All right, so we already know vitamin D is very important. In fact, I'll put a link to our other video, one of our other videos on vitamin D, because I think that's really important to watch, to know that vitamin D is involved in so many issues, so many problems when it's low. It is crucial that you have good vitamin D levels, especially for the immune system, but so many other things, bone density. I mean, just the list goes on, and research keeps increasing the amount of effects that vitamin D has on the body. So vitamin D, pretty darn important. Now, here's the thing though, is your doctor could maybe test your blood and say, hey, you're low in vitamin D, you're taking vitamin D. In fact, you're taking a lot of it. And it's like, wait a second, my levels are still staying low. It's not working, doc. The vitamin D is just not causing my levels to go up into the normal range. So what can be a factor here? Well, magnesium, pretty important stuff. You know, really, magnesium is so darn important. Let's put it this way. Our body needs water, it needs food, and really number 3 on the list should be magnesium. It's that important. It does that many things in the human body. But one of the things it does is it helps to assist vitamin D, which I'm going to talk more about here in a minute. Also, magnesium is a cofactor in over 300 processes in the body, meaning that it helps over 300 things occur in the body on just a everyday, every moment basis. It actually, what it does is a cofactor in different enzymes. So, I mean, it is just that significant. Now, the thing is, though, is about 70% of people are deficient in magnesium. Yeah, that's tremendous. That's a lot. I mean, this is so clinically significant. It's amazing that doctors aren't just saying, hey, everybody should be taking magnesium across the board on a daily basis. So crucial. And it's amazing that it's never talked about. All right. So, you know, because maybe somebody might say, oh, well, we're getting magnesium from the foods we eat. Well, not really. Basically, and this is what I thought, hey, I'll just eat more foods that are high in magnesium. You know, you can find that list of foods on the internet. Well, 80% basically has been depleted from the soil since 1950. Basically, plants use magnesium just like our body uses iron. Plants kind of do a similar thing with magnesium. And so it's very, very important. And then what happens, of course, is the animals eat the plants, or we eat the plants, or we eat the animals that ate the plants, and then we get magnesium, hopefully. But again, if it's been depleted this much, there's no way we're going to get enough magnesium through our diet. It's just impossible. All right. Oops. See if I can turn my page here. Okay, so how does this work? Basically, when we take vitamin D, when we get vitamin D from foods, things like that, we get this 25-OH vitamin D. That's the inactive form. It really doesn't do anything. But what happens is this form over here is the active form. That's the one that actually does the work. Now, how do you get from here to here? Magnesium. Magnesium is the cofactor. It actually triggers the enzyme that turns one into the other. Crucial. You can take all of this you want, but if you're low in magnesium, you're decreasing the ability to that to work. And then you're taking a bunch of vitamin D or eating a bunch of foods that are high in vitamin D, and it's just going in the toilet. So you've got to have vitamin D. Like I said, it makes the vitamin D work. The magnesium does. Also, interesting, magnesium increases the absorption of vitamin D in the GI tract. So when your magnesium levels are good, vitamin D even absorbs better. So that way, when you're taking it, it's just also not ending up in the toilet. So we've got to have it for vitamin D to work. We need it for vitamin D to absorb properly. Crucial that vitamin D is in there, or that magnesium's in there. Both of them. All right. So here's the question: is okay, how much do I take? So vitamin D, it can vary. The thing is when you take vitamin D, it's good to look at your blood test and find out, hey, where am I at? And I'll talk more about the range here in a minute. But you may end up taking anywhere from 2,000 units up to 10,000 units. You know, if you're out in the sun all day, you're eating foods that are rich in vitamin D all the time, you may not need as much. Or if you're a pretty healthy person, you know, people with chronic health issues, autoimmune conditions, they're going to need to be up in the higher ranges because their immune system is burning through vitamin D faster. Also, they're not absorbing it as well. And also, they're more prone to deficiency. Now, with magnesium, anywhere from 200 milligrams per day, or sometimes I'll even use up to 1,000 milligrams per day. I've even seen more given too. The thing is there's really no problem with this, but very crucial that we're getting some in. Again, especially if you have a chronic health issue, autoimmune condition. Again, some people may be having fairly normal levels just because they absorb really well and they're healthy and have a healthy gut. Now, here's what's ultra important too, is I would tend to say get all your fat-soluble vitamins together. Well, the majority. Vitamin E is not on there. You can take it separately. But especially vitamin D, vitamin A, K1, K2, these also work synergistically. And I tend to like to give all of those at the same time. And so they all absorb well. They all work together. Really important. So if a doctor is looking at your blood work, they will look for a range. And this will vary from doctor to doctor. This will also vary from lab to lab because lab tests, those reference ranges are based on a bell curve of each lab. So that's really frustrating too. So the thing is the range that I like to see is between about 70 to 100 nanograms per milliliter floating in the bloodstream there. Now, if you have an issue, a genetic issue called VDR, vitamin D receptor polymorphism, which can be checked easily on a genetic test. If you have an issue, this means that you could be taking vitamin D, your levels in your blood could look great, but it's not getting into your cells. This is a problem. And this is where you would maybe even need to take higher doses, and your range would maybe even need to be higher just to squeeze some in through the door because genetically you're not able to get that in. I won't get off on that topic. Watch our vitamin D video on that. Now, there's other potential problems too that could affect the absorption of vitamin D and magnesium. This is if your gut is inflamed, you've got IBS, Crohn's, colitis, SIBO, some of these gut issues. Also, if you have a gallbladder issue, because vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. So you've got to be able to make bile. Your gallbladder has to work. If you don't have a gallbladder, you got kind of unregulated bile. So that can sometimes be a problem too. But you got to have that to break it down. You also need that your pancreas needs to be making digestive enzymes, not only to break down the minerals, but also lipase to help break down the vitamin D. And then, other issues too could be that your stomach's not making enough hydrochloric acid, and maybe you have heartburn, reflux, some of these issues. Yeah, it takes that hydrochloric acid to trigger your gallbladder, to trigger your pancreas to release these things. So there's that whole cascade we have to look at too. But I would say, coming back to it, magnesium is crucial. Need it for vitamin D. All right. Well, hopefully everybody got some great information about that. Everybody will consider magnesium again. Always ask your doctor before taking any supplementation. But have a wonderful day. God bless. And I will see you next time.